Hi there! Thanks for joining me for episode 3 of Pins as Needles podcast. This is my video podcast where I share details on what I'm working on with knitting, crocheting, thrifting, and specifically in this next 6 months and for the last 6 months I have been working on my charity marathon. So I have made the goal to knit 26 miles of yarn into stuff to give away to charity. So I'll share a little bit of progress on that a little bit later. I just wanted to share that you can find me here on YouTube and Ravelry at Kayla Reve, and also on Instagram and a website at Pins as Needles. So pinsasneedles.com is where I will have my show notes posted, and I also share free patterns that are really great for charity knitting. So thanks for joining me. And today's my birthday, so I did most of my celebrating yesterday. Today I'm kind of relaxing, recording my podcast, and then I'm just going to go sit around and knit the world is my plan. But I had a really fun day yesterday. I'm coming to you from rural Iowa, where it tends to be pretty cold this time of year, and we always get horrible weather. January is just the worst for horrible weather, and it changes just completely just from day to day. So yesterday we went to Iowa City and we were walking around downtown with just like a sweater on. It was 52 degrees when we stopped for lunch, so it was wonderful. So just a little bit about my birthday celebration, which was yesterday. I thought I'd share some of the excitement. I plan celebrations around food and drink because those are my very favorite things. So we started off at Trumpet Blossom Cafe, which is a vegan restaurant in Iowa City. And Iowa City is about almost an hour from our home. So even though this restaurant is the most fantastic place in the world, we don't go very often because it's, just kind of out of the way. But anyway, it was wonderful. I had a breakfast sandwich that had like eggs and bacon and like a pickled corn relish. It was wonderful food. And my husband, bless his soul, got the Reuben because that was like my second pick. So I got to try a little bit of it, and I ate most of his sweet potato fries. And then we also had dessert. So my dessert was a coconut ice cream with chocolate chip cookie dough, and he got a chocolate cake. So it was so good. Then we walked around downtown Iowa City and got to enjoy some of their little shops in their really nice walkable little downtown area. And I got my hiking boots for my trip next summer. So next summer I am doing the Camino del Santiago. I don't know if it's de Santiago or del Santiago, but anyway, it is a pilgrimage through Spain. And my friend's dad, who is a pastor, is doing the entire thing. Whereas we're just joining him for the last, I believe, 100 kilometers. And I am my friend's +1, so I'm so excited to be going. I have never left the country, which is sometimes embarrassing to admit in some company because you just expect someone to have lived life a little bit. So I'm really excited to live life a little bit, get out of the country. I'm really hoping that I have a wonderful experience on the pilgrimage and, I don't know, learn lots. But if you are not familiar with it, there's a movie that Martin Sheen is in. It's called The Way, and it kind of profiles some of the different people that go on the pilgrimage and reasons why they go and things like that. So I'm way excited. And I got my hiking boots so now I can get those broken in. Of course, I stopped at an antique shop, and I have to share with you the funny monkey that I found. So last week I shared a couple of sock monkeys, and I talked to you a little bit about my sock monkey collection and how someone had once told me that they thought that sock monkeys were really creepy, and I thought that they were like a horrible person. Like, how can you possibly think that sock monkeys are creepy? Because they're the most adorable things ever. Well, I also said my sock monkey collection has reached critical mass. Like, I have too many of them. I don't know how to display them without looking messy, so I just need to quit buying sock monkeys. But we went to this antique shop, and my husband insisted that I buy this horrible little thing. And as you can see, it's creepy. That it's not actually a monkey. This is a sock man, and he is creepy. So I concede that things made from socks can look strange. And I love him nonetheless. He'll make a lovely part of my collection, but he's just not quite as adorable as some of the other things that I had. So I had to share that with you. That was one of my big finds of the day, my creepy little sock man. When we got home from Iowa City, I took a lovely nap, and then, like I said, I plan around food, so we went out to dinner as well. And I went to Chinese food with my friends, and then we went to the wine bar that's just right next door to the Chinese restaurant. Perfect planning. And enjoyed some drinks and chats, and it was lovely. So that was my birthday. Today is technically my birthday, and I am, recording my podcast and that kind of thing. So my idea for starting a marathon is officially 6 months old today. And so 6 months ago, I said, wow, I've been feeling really upset and down for 6 months. So that puts it back at last year. So 1 year ago today is where I kind of, I had a rough, birthday. And it wasn't really my birthday. It was just feeling old and just feeling old or whatever. And wondering what I was doing with my life. I was really wrapped up in work, but work wasn't really going well, and so on and so forth. And anyway, that was last birthday. Then 6 months from then is where I'm like, this is stupid. I have a wonderful life. Mathematically, you lay out your life, and it's wonderful. I have a good job. I have a warm home. I have fantastic pets. I have a loving husband. I have all the things that is supposed to make you happy, but I didn't feel happy. So I'm like, I'm gonna do a marathon. So I did, and that makes my marathon 6 months old. I have donated 149 items. So that doesn't include any of my finished objects that I'm showing with you today, or the finished objects from 2 episodes ago. So I have a lot more to donate. But anyway, 149 items, and I'm 10.3 miles in. So I'll kind of talk to you a little bit about that later. But marathon's going well. Mile 10 was seemed like it just took forever to get there. But I did. And now I'm feeling better. I'd say I'm good. I'll take that back, because I quit feeling better because my little kiddo that I babysat when I was 12 years old, he was the first kid that I babysat all by myself, without my parents' supervision. He has recently become my Facebook friend, which was strange enough. But he recently updated his relationship status to say that he has a girlfriend, which is bizarre. I mean, it's not bizarre. I'm a teacher. I have students who are juniors who have girlfriends. But to realize that he is a junior with a girlfriend is just strange to me. So my computer's telling me that I am going to run out of battery. But I don't want to get up and pause my camera, so let me see if I can do it quickly. Okay, there we go. Because that's where my notes are. So I have some acquisitions. I did not buy yarn since my last episode. I have gotten yarn because people have been sending their acrylic scrappy stuff to me. That's what I intended when I said, so my mom asked me to share kind of what kind of yarn I needed and that kind of thing on her blog, because people had been asking how they can send me yarn. And I'm like, sure, I'll take yarn, send me your acrylic scraps and I'll just make a scrappy Afghan. Well, people sent me real nice yarn, nice stuff. So I've been having fun making projects with that. So last episode, I shared with you the box of yarn that came from Hobby Lobby that was sent to me by Sherry, and I've been using that. I also got a bunch of yarn from Barbara from Texas. So Barbara from Texas sent me this acrylic yarn, which will be lovely to use. So I got some purple. I'll be making lots of purple hats for Click for Babies. I just hit my head my plant. Anyway, I'll be using lots of purple yarn for Click for Babies. I'm thinking of making little pig hats out of the pink because it's so cute. So thank you for that. But the other thing she loaded up on was homespun yarn. So homespun is like this stuff. Oop, and this is attached to a work in progress. So I'm not going to show you that ball. I'll show you this ball instead. So homespun by Lion brand, which I had not used before, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about it when I talk to you about my works in progress. But thank you, Barbara, for sending me yarn. I much appreciate it. And then just the other day, I got yarn from Phyllis in sunny Florida, is how she signs things. I think she's a reader of my mom's blog, so she always signs Phyllis in sunny Florida. So then when she sent me yarn, she wrote Phyllis in sunny Florida. So that was really cute. But look at this bright and sunny yarn that she sent me. So she sent me all of these peaches and cream, and the color is Pink Lemonade. And this will be lovely for making washcloths for Self-Help International. So if you've read the book, it's called Gigi Knits, I think. Anyway, it's a book about a girl who learns how to knit and then does a charity project. And it's based in Waverly, Iowa, which is only about maybe an hour and a half from where I live. And in the book, they give instructions for how to make the washcloths and where to send them. So I'm going to be making washcloths. That's always my go-to project if I'm teaching someone how to knit. It's like, let's make a washcloth, and you can just use up your scrap yarn or whatever. And so anyway, thank you to Phyllis in sunny Florida, who sent me all of these Pink Lemonade cotton yarn. I much appreciate it. So thank you very much. Next up, after acquisitions. Oh, also with acquisitions, there will be more acquisitions because my fantastic friends, I'm kind of a horrible person to get gifts for. I'm not good at getting gifts. I'm not good at giving gifts. I'm kind of weird. So like I buy stuff when I want stuff or when I need stuff, but I'm not very good at, like, I don't like most stuff that people like. Like, I don't wear jewelry. I don't know, I don't like wear perfume. I'm vegetarian. I'm hard to shop for, and I apologize for being hard to shop for, but my friends got me gift cards. So there is a lovely new shop that just opened in October that is called Stitch Together, and it's in Marion, Iowa, which is the same town where I work. So I'm so excited. I have knitting needles ordered through there, so I'll probably buy my knitting needles and then find something more. I stopped in to Stitch Together, and it's just the cutest little shop. It's I think they call it like an urban needlework destination or whatever, and it does. It has like a really urban kind of trendy feel to it that I really enjoy. And they have lots of, when I was in there, they had lots of things like from Wool and the Gang and lots of the really trendy, chunky, fun yarns. And there's so much fun stuff, but a lot of the stuff that I'm donating right now, I don't want to, with the quantity that I'm knitting with, so I'm just making lots and lots of things to donate. With the quantity I'm knitting, with most places require that you have acrylic, I just can't buy that really, really cute stuff right now. So I'm looking forward to maybe indulging in some yarn to make something for myself. So excited to spend my gift cards to Stitch Together. And I also got one for Joann's, and that will be so nice to get like the acrylic stuff that I need for my marathon. So let's talk about my finished objects. So my finished objects include, I'm trying to think of what order. I'll go, because this is the oldest thing that you guys have seen. This was a work in progress on my very first podcast episode, and it's done. This is, I'm trying to think of if you can see it, because I need to talk to you about my technical issues. I'll get there in a second. But anyway, flax sweater. This is by Tin Can Knits. It's a free pattern that they put out, and it is just lovely. I love a good garter stitch. but it's knit in the round and stockinette stitch, so it was nice once you get to like a certain point that you can just like mindlessly make stockinette stitch. So this was just adorable. I made this out of Cascade Avalon, and I also shared with you on my first podcast episode that the Cascade Avalon, which is in this lovely little lemon color, it was $3 for 5 skeins because I found it at Goodwill. They just like had jammed it into this like Ziploc bag and then packaging taped it and then just put like a $3 tag on it, and it was 5 skeins of this stuff. So it was really fun to knit with, and it's perfect for donating. This specific sweater will go to Lutheran World Relief. It will be part of their layette kits. So this was lovely. My little flax sweater is done. Ends are woven in, it's blocked and everything. So this is going to go into my stockpile. My church is getting together some kits probably in the middle of April, and I'm just folding this and realizing that the sleeves are like not quite the same size. Maybe. Oh, they're okay. So that's my flax sweater. It's done. I made it on Avalon and patterns from Tin Can Knits, and I use number 6 needles throughout. So that's pretty tight, but I tend to have a looser gauge than most patterns. So there is that. Another recent Tin Can Knits pattern finish to share with you is my antler hat. So this antler hat is too small. So I had my flax sweater on the needles, but I really wanted to start this because it was going to be part of Eric from Sticks Plus Twine's knit along. So I had to start it on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. So I just used too small of needles. That was not very smart of me because I didn't want to finish my flax first, and then this yarn looked like it was going to knit up bigger. Anyway, that was a silly choice of me, but anyway, it will. So this is the biggest size of the antler hat by Tin Can Knits, but as you can see, it's really more of like a women's hat or like a small hat. So someone will need and love it. And I made this from recycled yarn. So I bought a sweater that was a cotton, no, it wasn't cotton, not cotton. It was wool and acrylic and some nylon and maybe some Angora blend. Anyway, it was quite lovely to work with. And it has a nice soft spring to it. So that was nice. Anyway, I finished my antler hat. But after I finished it, so Eric's knit along is that you make 2 men's accessories. And I was going to make the antler hat as well as the antler mittens. Both of them are patterns via Tin Can Knits. And after I got this done, my elbow and my hands just got too crampy. So working with cable needles and at this small gauge, I guess it wasn't really that small a gauge, I don't know, but it just really bugged me. So I'm kind of putting this more fiddly stuff on the back burner. So I am not going to be finishing the knit along, but this hat will go somewhere. I'm actually going to be donating most of the adult hats that I'm sharing with you today. Those will be shared with the cheerleaders at my high school because so my colleague that works just next door to me is the cheerleading coach, and her cheerleaders put together a drive for the homeless in our area. So students can get in free to basketball games and wrestling meets this next week or so. And if they bring hats, underwear, socks, mittens, all of those things. So I have a stack of things that I'm going to be bringing to her for that. So, because that's really nice that high schoolers are caring about giving back. So anyway, antler hat. There you go. I said I was going to tell you about my technical issues. So last episode was kind of horrible, and I really appreciate if you're still here for my 3rd episode because my 2nd one was so bad. But I have had a lifetime history of being horrible at starting projects and not finishing them. So I promised myself I will not spend any money on recording equipment for my podcast until I've made at least 10 episodes. So I continue to film on my phone. That's like an old phone. And I do have a tripod, so I've got that going for me. But last episode, I like zoomed in the frame, so it was like pretty much only on my face. And then the light was so bright that it washed out completely half of my face. And then when I hold items up for you to see, I would hold it up like this, but it was only my face. So the entire episode was like up the top of my head, because I had all my stuff like on the floor, so I'm like leaning down to get stuff. It was like the top of my head and very little actual knitting. So I apologize for my horrible episode last time. I decided to post it anyway because I'm trying to be less of a perfectionist. And yeah, so thanks for sticking around. But I am holding this hat, so I might as well tell you about it. In the yarn that Barbara sent me, there was a like probably 50 yards or so of this darker blue color that had no tag. So I just cast on, I didn't write down, I think I did 60 stitches on a number 10 needle, and then I just did knit 2, purl 2, rib all the way around. It's based on the Sandoval hat pattern, so Robin Devine from She Makes Hats has a Sandoval hat that I've made several of. But now if I just have yarn to use up, that's what I do, is I just cast on and knit and do knit 2, purl 2, rib until it's tall enough, and then I decrease. So anyway, that's what I did. And then I did 1 row of this ocean, is what this colorway is called. So ocean and then blue until I ran out of this. I set some aside for a pom-pom, and then knit till the end. So this is a nice little hat, but something I noticed is that with homespun, it's not really the best for hats because it doesn't really have a recovery. You know, if you stretch it out, it just kind of stays stretched. So it's not the very best for making hats, but someone will appreciate this. I'm just not going to continue to make hats from it. But this will be nice. This quote is worth talking about too. I get lots of questions about how I measure my yardage, and most of the time I just use the label. But like I said, like this didn't have a label, so how do I still count that in my marathon? The way I do that is I just weighed the ball that was there, and then I read the package for another ball of homespun yarn, and it tells you how many grams per yard or yards per gram. So then you just do the math and know the yards that way. I do also have a fishing line meter that I can literally measure yardage with, but I find that grams is accurate enough. So that's how I do that. So that is my stretchy hat, and that'll go for Winter Whiteout, which is the name of the cheerleaders drive for hats and such. And my husband might be coming home and be making noise, so if it gets blippy here, that's why. Anyway, so because I did not love the homespun for hats, I decided to make it into a scarf. So Barbara sent me 5 skeins of homespun, I think. It was really like generous. But I don't know, this is probably a common knitting problem, but I suffer anxiety when I need to go somewhere and I don't have like a travelable project. So something that's like ready for me to do. So my friends invited me out to, we went to, I think the wine bar, I don't remember what we were doing, what we met up for. But anyway, I didn't have a project going, so I just grabbed my homespun and grabbed a J crochet hook, and I decided I was just gonna make a scarf. So I chained like 25, and then I just double crocheted back and forth until I had a scarf. So this took one entire ball of homespun, but as you can see, it's a little short. So it'll still work. I'm still gonna donate it. I'm not gonna like rip it all out, but it's not the best thing for someone. So I wanted something that was easy to make, that would use up a whole ball of yarn that I could have to just travel with me. So I made a cowl, and I'll show you the cowl I made. So I took the ocean yarn, which is left over from that hat that I just showed you, and number 10 needles, and I cast on 70, and then I just knit forever until I had about 2 yards left, and then I cast off. And I made this cowl. So as you can see, that's really how easy it was. I just cast on, and obviously if you knit, it's going to roll, but it looks like I planned it that way, which I did, like I knew it would roll, but you just end up with a cowl. So this is about how big a cowl will be if you use an entire ball of homespun. And I thought that this would be nice, especially for donating, because it's more versatile, so people could, you know, use it as a hat, they could use it as a scarf if they wanted, so it's just more versatile. So there's that. So this is my new go-to project. I'm a good crocheter, but I still, no, my hair's gonna be crazy for the rest of the episode. Anyway, so, I'm a good crocheter, but I still have to look at where the hook is going every time. Whereas with knitting, especially if it's just a knit stitch, you can just knit and not have to think about it. So this is, I made this one over the course of we started watching X-Files. So this is, if I'm working on something that is kind of tedious, I will switch to working on this. So this is my Bible study / waiting in line / going out to eat with friends. Knitting is what I did with this one. And I have another one cast on that I'll show you shortly in my works in progress. But anyway, very simple pattern. I'm not going to write it down, so here it is. Cast on 70, knit forever, cast off. That's it. So, a wonderful project for donating and also for keeping your hands busy if you have to do something that requires you sitting still. So there's that. Last episode, I also told you about all of the beautiful yarn that I got from Sherry and Fran. And I wanted to sample all of the purple. And I didn't show you these because they weren't technically done, but I have the ends woven in. And I made these chevron hats. So these, this is a free pattern available on my blog, pinsesneedles.com. And you can see, I think I did show you these. You probably couldn't see them because of my horrible technical issues, and I have hair hanging off it. Anyway, so those are my cute little chevron hats. I am collecting purple hats for Click for Babies. So Click for Babies is a campaign to end shaken baby syndrome, and parents who take the curriculum get a purple hat to raise awareness and such. So I like donating for them, but they're actually not collecting hats right now. The Preemie Project is collecting hats on behalf of Click for Babies. Click for Babies usually starts accepting hats in July, but the Preemie Project would like red, white, and blue hats at that time. So they are having a drive to collect purple hats until April 15th maybe, or so. So I'm making lots of purple hats. I'm almost through this ball of raspberry. So this is, raspberry is the color, and it's Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn, which is my favorite yarn for donating. So there's that. I made these 4, and I actually made the toddler size. So on my website, there's a baby size and a toddler size, but the Preemie Project specifically asked that they have a 14-inch head circumference on these hats, which seems big for a newborn. So I'm not sure if they actually give it to parents of newborns or if it's like a continuing education class, but anyway. So I made these in the toddler size. That's available on my blog, Chevron Crochet Hat. I've had a lot of questions too about people who they'll compliment and say, you know, it's a nice pattern and everything, but I just can't figure it out. So I think a video tutorial is in order. It's a pretty intuitive pattern if you get the hang of it, but I can understand it was a real challenge to write and explain, so I can understand how it would be hard to read. So a video tutorial is in order. I might be giving that a try sometime. So that's those 4 little hats. I also made 4 more, oh no, this is not related. 3 hats. So I just do a basic, if I'm just making lots of hats, sometimes I'll do, it's really easy on Ravelry to find like a basic double crochet hat pattern or a basic half double crochet hat pattern. And then I'll do it so that it's on a decrease of 8, so then that means I have 4 stitches. So I'll just look in a stitch pattern book and see what kind of things require a multiple of 4. So I found this pattern in my Reader's Digest book of needlework, which is my favorite one. And it's kind of like a basket weave, which I think complements this cute flower. So I wanted to try all of the yarns that Sherry sent me. So I made these 3 purple hats with a basket weave and did a flower. And I will link, this is the pattern, or the flower is a free pattern. So I will link to it. It's not my own, but I will link to it in the show notes. So 3 more purple hats for Click for Babies. And then I just wanted to finish a ball. So I made this, and this is just another, it's a 8 increase double crochet hat with a multiple of 4 stitch repeat. I don't even know what the name of that stitch is called. But you do 3 double crochets, so you skip a stitch, then double crochet 3, and then go back and double crochet in that stitch that you skipped, and then you can see it makes like that V shape. So that's a fun one to make as well. I was gonna say something that was relevant related to my hat, and it has completely slipped my mind. So we'll see if I come back to it. More finished objects include my puppy love hats. So I had used almost a little bit of all of the yarn that Sherry sent me, but now I remember the thing because I used it for these hats. Anyway, but I had wanted to use up all the rainbow colors. So I made these hats. These hats are the Puppy Love hat. It is a free pattern from Whistle and Ivy. So the reason these hats are white instead of gray, like it looks so nice on Whistle and Ivy, her sample hats that she made for the pattern are really pretty. And one of the reasons why this last mile has went so slowly is because I've been making lots of things but not actually finishing a ball of yarn. So I had made my puff stitch lace blanket, and I had just a little bit left of the Pound of Love. So I really wanted to finish that ball of yarn because if I finished it, it was 1,020 yards, which would have completely bumped me up. So I went straight from like 9.6 miles up to 10.3 with one ball of yarn. So that's what is the base color for this. And then the other colors are a variety of colors from Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn in worsted that Sherry so generously sent to me. And I shared that in my last episode. So the first time around when I made the hat, I used the H, so they don't really give a gauge in the pattern, but they say to just use an H hook. So I did, and it came out kind of small. So this does not fit my head. I have a very large head as far as women go. But unfortunately, we also need hats for homeless children. So I wish there was not a need for this hat in the world, but there is. So I will donate that along with my other hats to the cheerleaders' winter whiteout campaign. So that's sad, but it was needed. So there's that. And then this size, I moved up to a J hook. And then that's where I got the effect that I wanted. So you can see it's supposed to have a little bit of a slouch to it. I think you can see that it's supposed to have a slouch to it because like I said, I'm just recording on a phone. So I hope it looks great. But anyway, so this used Pound of Love in antique white and then scraps of Hobby Lobby's I Love This Yarn in worsted weight. Cute coral color and such. So it has little hearts. Anyway. So thank you to Whistle and Ivy for a lovely free pattern. And I needed a J hook in order to meet the gauge. So if you tend to be, which surprised me because usually I have a super loose gauge that I always have to go down. So let's move on to works in progress. So my husband made it home. He was out running errands. So if there's a little bit of background noise happening, that's why he's up and about. But anyway, I wanted to share with you some of my works in progress. So I'm making another cowl like the one that I talked about in this homespun yarn, which is called a Cherry Blossom. Also sent to me from Barbara. So thank you, Barbara. This time though, I went up a needle size. So these are size 11s. I went up a needle size and I cast on fewer stitches. So this is only 64 stitches, but I don't like the weave. It looks a little bit too big. So I will continue to make it. I still think it will be a nice enough cowl, but it's not my favorite. So with the rest of the homespun that I have left, I'll go back down to a 10. But anyway, this is knitting up really fast. So this is the result of trivia night knitting, Bible study knitting. That's about it. So maybe just 2 hours or so has got 2 or 3 maybe has gotten me that far. So that's really nice. But I pretty much showed you how to do that earlier with my blue one. Oh, and I buried my book with my finished projects. So I want to show you this book I got. I wanted this for a long time, but I finally bought it, and I'm so happy I did. It's adorable. So this is going to go on my bookshelf with those books that you keep forever, and it's a wonderful reference piece. I bought it because I wanted to make the Tomton coat. So it's, anyway, The Opinionated Knitter by Elizabeth Zimmerman. It is a collection of her newsletters, and I've really liked the Tomton coat on Ravelry. I thought it would be really nice for donating because Lutheran World Relief likes for you to have a hooded jacket. But when I got the pattern, it makes a size that's a little bit too big for what I need. So I was kind of feeling lazy and didn't want to go back and do the math. She gives the math. Like, all of her patterns are fantastic as far as like measuring your gauge, figuring your own math, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to give it a try. But there will be a little more work involved. So instead, I cast on for a surprise baby coat, and that's this one. So it's very cute. I mean, it's not really cute, actually. It's very confusing at this point. And it's funny because in her pattern, it goes and explains, like, are you still with me? Like, does this still make sense? Like, she's very narrative and cute about how she writes her pattern. So I'm really enjoying making it. Right now it makes absolutely no sense. Apparently, like, this is gonna be the cuff and like this is the back. I have no idea how it works. Apparently you make like this giant strange hexagon and then you fold it and it's a jacket. So I am making a surprise baby jacket. So that's really the only things that I've got going right now. Because my crochet hats, they're not really a work in progress for very long. You know, you make them and then they're done in pretty much 1 or 2 days. So I don't have any crochet projects to share, except I'm still working on that Leaping Stripes and Blocks blanket, and that will be happening for a very long time. So there's that. Go ahead. Okay. So he's trying to be quiet, but by him trying to be quiet, it like makes more noise than if he would just like walk past. So anyway, but I appreciate it. I appreciate him trying. I was going to talk to you about some of my upcoming things that I have planned. So I shared in my first episode, and like I said, I felt dumb for saying it because it seemed like an especially ambitious goal, and that was to make 5 Afghans for donating as part of my marathon in time for the county fair. And I've looked at some patterns. I've got a good idea of what I want to do. I just need to purchase the yarn and decide on that. So, and those blankets, I was thinking for my knitted blanket and my crocheted baby blanket, I will be using white sport weight yarn and making a blanket that I can donate to the Preemie Project. So they give, it's just sad. Like, it's good to know that you can help someone, but when someone has a miscarriage, they don't even, you don't have clothes for a baby. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're that far along, you don't have, so you're given a baby that is far enough along to need a funeral, but is not far enough along to have clothes to wear. So anyway, the Preemie Project makes and gives blankets to these families so you can swaddle the baby. Just really sad. It's kind of a downer. Like, I know that sounds horrible, but the Preemie Project does so many cute things. So I've You know, you can make, they have their Boo in the NICU, which is where you make like monsters and pumpkins and like Halloween themed hats. And they have their Sidehawk challenge, which is where you make like sports themed hats. And you have the Christmas challenge, which is where you make lots of Christmas themed stuff. And it's just, it's so cute. And I know that there's a need for their grievance things as well, but it's just kind of a downer to make, so. But anyway, I'll make at least 2 blankets for them for the fair this year. And I've been looking at patterns of the felted button. It has some really cute stuff that I will probably look into making for some of my other Afghans. And they are, so I'm looking into that. And those will probably go, I'm looking for a place to give locally, but if I don't find one, the Linus Project has hundreds of local chapters. And I think that there's one in Davenport, which is about 2 hours from here. So they will have a home. I'm just looking into that. Right now I'm working on making hats for the winter whiteout, so that's where all of the adult hats in my stash are going to go, and some of the children's hats in my stash. All of them will go to the winter whiteout, which is to benefit homeless people in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area. I'm also working on purple hats, and those will be given to the Preemie Project via, spill my tea. They will go to the Preemie Project. Okay, they're going to Click for Babies via the Preemie Project. That's my purple hats. I'm working on jackets and baby hats for Lutheran World Relief. And something I'm super excited about is I think I'm going to do a craft fair. So I've tried a craft fair here and there with not a lot of success. I'm not a very good business person. I don't know. But the Animal Welfare Foundation, which is a no-kill organization in our area, is having a craft fair fundraiser. So what I was thinking I would do is make dozens of adorable animal hats, you know, in baby sizes, and make dozens of baby hats in animal sizes and give 100% of all proceeds right back to Animal Welfare Foundation. So the reason they're having the craft fair is because it costs $30 to have a table. So they make money from the $30. But if I went there, I would make all the hats and then sell all the hats. I would still count it towards my marathon because all of the proceeds, like, you know, $15 of a $15 hat would go straight back. So that would be awesome. Because there's lots of organizations that I really care about that they don't necessarily need knit and crochet things. But I think you can still do a lot of good with knit and crochet. And it takes a lot of pressure off because in the past when I've done craft fairs, I think I overthink it. I'm like, I'm going to make eco-friendly beanies and they need to be in this colorway. And whereas with this, I'm just like, hey, because this is going to sound really snotty, but I don't love working with acrylic, and I don't love like really gaudy crocheted stuff. And gaudy's a rude word, so I won't use gaudy, but like I don't like really overdone stuff. So a lot of the like projects that I've been sharing with you are not things that I would make for myself. I prefer, like, I don't really wear color. The reason I am wearing a colored sweater is because I'm recording a podcast. Usually, like, I wear gray all the time. And when I knit, I prefer like grays. I make lots of things in gray. But that's not always very commercially appealing. So something that is really nice about my marathon is I can just try lots of things and not worry about like, oh, this won't look right on my Instagram feed, or oh, this looks too homemade, or oh, this looks too crafty. I can just make whatever I want and someone will love it. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity to make all these animal hats, because even though like I would not wear an animal hat for myself, they're fun to make and they're kind of cute and other people really love them. People really think that animal hats with like giant eyes and ears and all that stuff is super adorable. So I enjoy making them, but I'm kind of like judgy about myself, I guess. If something that I make is more crafty than art. That sounds bad. I don't know. if that makes any sense. I, like when I was a kid, I did lots of sewing and crafting and stuff, but if something looked like it was homemade, I wouldn't wear it out. So I just have always liked things to look very neat. So anyway, so my plan is to make all of the things out of acrylic yarn, and they're going to be loud, and they're going to be fun, and they're going to be popular, and people will want to buy them and pay lots of money back to Animal Welfare Foundation. So that's the big plan. And quite a long ramble, but perhaps you can relate. I'm kind of in the world of acrylic right now, which is perfect for the charity that I'm doing, but I'm just really looking forward to making doilies, like doilies, or like really intricate Fair Isle something, or like cables, just things that like make your fingers hurt. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying my marathon. I'm learning a lot. I'm developing a lot of confidence, but I would really like to get my hands on some really scrumptious wool and make really frivolous, silly things. So anyway, that's my plan of my crafting. I will see you again in about 2 weeks, so Valentine's Day-ish. Hopefully I have lots of progress to share with you, because in addition to 2 weekends, so I record my podcast every 2 weeks so that I have plenty to share with you. But we're looking forward to a potential snow day this week. So it's funny because Iowa is just the center of everyone's attention right now, which is bizarre because we're pretty much regarded as being like nothing exciting happens here. We're not on national news for pretty much anything ever until it's caucus season, and I feel like not excited about that. I'm just way over television and campaigns and advertisements and everything. But if it's funny when you watch national news because they're like projecting like 12 to 24 inches of snow, and how will Iowans get out for the caucus with 12 to 24 inches of snow, whereas local forecasts, we're not even in a blizzard warning yet. So what's supposed to happen is we're supposed to get snow Monday night through Wednesday morning is kind of the thing. And they're projecting like 12 to 24 inches, and how will Iowans get out to caucus, and like they're just like making a big deal out of it. But local forecasts are saying like maybe 5 inches of snow, which in Iowa is like not a big deal. I mean, it's a big enough deal that we might get a snow day, which would be wonderful. But yeah, anyway, I work as a teacher. I haven't mentioned that yet in this podcast, I don't think. And that means that if students get a snow day, I also get a snow day. And some teachers are really serious about it, and they're like, oh, but you'll be behind in your curriculum, or, which I won't be. I'll work it out. But then you'll have to make it up in June. And there's just something about a snow day. Like, I will make up school in June all June long if I can just have surprise snow days. There is nothing like being stressed about going to work, like thinking through everything that you have to do before you get to work, before the bell rings, like all that stuff. There's nothing like a text message that tells you that you don't have to go to work that day. It's amazing. So anyway, I'm looking forward to lots and lots of knitting and crocheting, hopefully getting snowed in. Drive safely if you have to. I'm hoping that I don't need to. And have a wonderful week, 2 weeks until I see you again. So thank you so much for sticking around and watching my 3rd episode. I hope to be back in 2 weeks with episode 4. Thanks. Bye.